Society.
Strangers. Strangers in society.
Strangers on the internet.
The secret.
Strangers.
Society, oh, welcome, stranger.
Secret to society. Strangers.
Society.
Welcome to the secret society.
Strangers?
Welcome back, strangers. I'm Lee, here with Josh and Jen. What's up, dude?
What it do?
Gals?
Back in my natural habitat.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Looks good.
it's so nice. It's so cozy and warm in here, and I don't have to wear sleeves.
Meanwhile, I'm got like a sweatshirt on, a
Yeah, I'm
heater going next
freezing.
to me, and my hands are numb.
Yep.
Oh, don't get me
Same.
wrong. It's like mad cold outside. It's like,
Ugh.
I think like 10.
Yeah, but like even with my house and the heat on, I'm still layered up and sweated up.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's warmer
man.
outside than it is in this room that I'm in.
Yeah, I try to keep it warm, but and then I fluctuate between the like, am I gonna like die while we're recording and like have to like start stripping, or like do I just keep it low and suffer and just try?
Hey, keep the stripping for Patreon.
Yeah, that's what I was going to
Yeah,
say.
yeah, we'll-
There you
Do
go.
it for the
Yeah,
views. Do it for the views. Lee.
I got a high price, man.
Do it for the gram.
The Patreon membership. That's like super gold platinum tier. All right. Well, on this episode of the Secret Society of Strangers podcast, we are talking about the Smurl family haunting. Now, this is a story that takes place in southeastern Pennsylvania, quite close to me. It's about an hour outside of Philadelphia, about 25 minutes from Scranton. So if you're an Office fan,
Oh, yeah.
you're familiar.
Parks and Rec was better.
Yeah, I know you say that, but that's not true.
Correct.
It's facts.
Mm.
Come at me in the comments. I dare you.
Oh, yeah, let's have a war over Office
Yeah.
versus... And you know what we can throw in there, which I really do like, is I like Parks and Rec. It's not that I don't like it, but Office
Yeah.
is better.
Absolutely.
Superstore could be thrown in that like
Oh.
workplace comedy type thing.
Oh.
It's a pretty good
Superstore is hilarious.
Yeah. I love that. Forgot
Yeah,
about
that's a
that
great
one.
show. All right, so this is a house that, by all accounts, was the conduit or a conduit for the supernatural. The Smurl family claims that they were tormented by a demonic presence for over 13 years in their home.
It's a long time.
Black masses would materialize before them, loud bangs, scratches inside the walls would keep them up at night. The Smurls, and I'm putting it out here early in the beginning of this, the famed demonologist and clairvoyant Ed and Lorraine Warren all claim that these horrifying stories are true. However, many believe that this is a product of untreated health conditions or just an elaborate hoax. It's up to you guys. We'll leave it up to you. Disclaimer, of course, as always, this episode is going to involve violence, sexual assault, violence against children, and minor violence against animals. Minimal blood and gore, so I guess that's a positive.
I'm glad we had a buffer of
Yeah.
like a not sad episode or two.
Yeah, get a buffer in there, we get a guest, we get some stuff in there. First off, also, definitely do this for us. Subscribe, like, if you guys want to hear more of these stories. Comments below, let us know what you guys want. Let me know what you guys want to know
Tickle
about.
that notification
talk about.
bell.
Yes, notification bell. And if you're listening on Spotify or one of the other podcast things, please give us a rating and comment and just interact with us because we want to be interacted with.
Yes.
Yeah, we want to interact with you guys, but it's a two-way street.
All right. You guys ready to get into this?
Yes.
Always.
All right. First, for like, I've been wanting to do this, and I don't know who's going to recognize this, but like, I may start doing this for all my episodes. Submitted for the approval of the Secret Society of Strangers, I submit the haunting of the Smurl family.
Dun dun dun.
Bum, bum, bum.
Does anybody recognize that?
No.
Okay. I guess you guys didn't watch Are You Afraid of the Dark when you were younger?
Oh, yes, I
wow,
did.
like,
But yeah.
we got.
Yep.
I would be
Yeah.
hyped if they remade that, but like,
They did. They
Oh,
They
really?
started it a while ago.
okay.
It's not still going, I don't think. But they're not the same.
Yeah.
When you're a kid and you're watching those things,
No,
they're
it's so
creepy as shit.
terrifying.
Yes.
All right, so this all began in the aftermath of Hurricane Angus, sorry,
Agnes?
pause. Agnes.
Agnes?
Sorry.
Okay.
Hurricane Angus. Just
I
a
start
big
thinking-
cow.
But I start also thinking about Agatha, like for
Ah.
whatever reason, like I see that name and I start thinking about like the show. So in 1972, the hurricane caused about $2.1 billion in damage and just ravaged the East Coast from the Caribbean to Canada. Pennsylvania in particular took a lot of damage. So the Smurls were originally living in a town called Wilkes-Barre, Wilkesboro, however you want to say it, come at me, because if you live in my area, you know people are going to be mad about how I said that.
That's just like the area I grew up in, in North Carolina. It's called Goldsboro, but like literally on Snapchat, when you're like doing your location, it says the borough.
Yeah, no one can agree, and I don't know what it is. So Wilkes-Barre, Wilkesboro, whatever you want to call it. The Smurls moved in with Jack's parents into a duplex on 330 Chase Street in West Pittston, Pennsylvania. Let's do a head count real quick, because I always feel like when we're talking about hauntings in a house, that's important. So in one side of the duplex, we have Jack and Janet, which husband and wife, and their two daughters, Heather and Dawn. They're young. Their ages are kind of not disclosed around when the time is, but they're in school, young, elementary to middle school age right now. And John and Mary Smurl live on the opposite side of the duplex, just the two of them. The house was built in 1896, and it's in a middle to upper class neighborhood. They were a very well-respected Catholic family, and they both grew up in this area, not where they had just moved from. They met in 1967, and they got married in 1968. Jack served as a Navy specialist and now is a neuropsychiatric technician. So again,
Wow.
just throwing that
Okay.
stuff out there just to kind of,
Shout outs to him.
yeah.
Sounds
All right,
important.
and
You
this
I'm
whole-
just a neuropsychiatric technician.
Doctor.
Womp womp.
This haunting, it began innocently enough in January of 1974. Initially, these things seemed kind of benign. Tools went missing and then would just like reappear a couple minutes later in a spot that you already searched. Stains would seep through the wall even though they were freshly painted, and you paint over them, they would come back. Toilet bowls would flush out of nowhere. Appliances that were not plugged in would turn on and off. And in one of the most dramatic early cases of the activity, Jack's TV caught on fire while he was watching it.
Oh.
Shouldn't have been watching that stuff.
Right? Watching that fire!
Fire!
And one night, on a brand new carpet, a stain appeared, and it was like a greasy stain that like was really hard to get out and kind of wouldn't completely leave, but no one could tell you where it came from. So these things were going on, but at the same time, the Smurls were kind of like living their best lives. Jack had just got promoted, and Janet helped organize an anti-drinking and driving group for the kids' school. Jack was also the softball coach of the girls' team, and the girls were kind of just doing well in school. Everyone was assimilating to the neighborhood great. So like these little occurrences around the house were easier to overlook. Now, that didn't last for long. Unfortunately, their good fortune was fleeting. It became hard to make ends meet with repairs in the house and two kids. At the time, in the area in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, a lot of different mines, and they were all closing. You know, everything was washing up. There was ghost towns were happening. So it wasn't easy to hold a job. So Jack got laid off. Around this time, his mom also suffered a heart attack. So she was bedridden for a little while, and Janet was at home kind of taking care of her, adding to like the stress of things in the house. And around this time is when things started to intensify paranormal wise. In 1975, after all these intermediate experiences, things got crazy. And this for me is when like I'm out. Like this is the beginning of like all right, I could deal with a stain. That's weird. But
Mm.
once this stuff
Yeah.
starts happening, I'm gone. Dawn, the oldest daughter, would wake up in the middle of the night to black masses moving around in her room and floating around in her room, and experience her room just drop to bone-chilling temperatures out of nowhere for extended periods of time.
Mm.
Okay. Done. Now
Yeah.
we're moving.
Not doing a black mass.
Yep.
Nah, I'm good. Like waking up and just seeing something at the end of your bed or something like that. That's
Nope.
terrifying.
Nope.
Nah,
that's
it's
one of the
gonna be a no
worst.
for me.
Yeah. Well, we'll see you in October. See if we see any
You'll
black
see me and
masses.
be like, it's a no from me. Just
Keeping out-
walk the fuck out.
The thing is, if we're in Gettysburg, there's not a lot of places to hide from ghosts. They're like everywhere.
That's true.
It's the whole place, yeah.
Now, in 1977, the family began to hear footsteps around the house, and again, things like unplugged radios would start blaring music. Empty rocking chairs would rock ominously, like there was like someone sitting in it.
It's also a terrifying thing to see in real
Yes.
life.
Yeah, absolutely. That's just nice. Like, and that's what they said. It was like a nice, deliberate like rock. It wasn't like a do 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 do.
Yeah.
It was like like
Somebody
someone
was
was sitting.
sitting in it.
Mm,
Ugh.
creepy. Once in the kitchen while Janet was doing dishes, a human-sized black mass without a face materialized in front of her, turned, dematerialized, and went through the wall. When she followed it, she found Mary on the other side of the house, on the other side of the duplex, who said she just saw the black mass go past her in the room out of the house.
Oh, damn. So walk through the wall. One lady
Yep.
saw it, and the other person saw it through the wall.
Oof.
Mhm.
Mm.
Now, furthermore, Jack began to feel unseen hands caress him,
Mm.
or a constant feeling that someone was watching him.
That's creepy.
That's again, all these are all like the worst feelings, like that.
Yeah, you're just sitting there shuddering because you're like, oh, what the fuck is... And then there's
Yeah.
nothing there.
Mm-hmm. Wait, now this one will get you, Josh. In February of 1985, Janet heard her name being called in the basement while doing laundry.
Oh.
After searching for the unseen caller, she realized that she was home alone the entire time.
Ugh.
Yeah, nah.
No.
Nah, that's exactly...
I hate that. I have to do my laundry in the basement, so I don't like that.
Basement in this house is not creepy at all. I grew up with a house where, like you'd run up the basement stairs because you felt like
Mhm.
something behind you.
Yep.
Mhm.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Living that dream.
Just have no... I'm just good
No.
on basements.
Yeah.
Especially after my basement incident. I'm good.
Well, that's why I knew that one would resonate
Mm.
with you. Now, things get really real. If that wasn't real enough, things get really real. Jack was attacked by a succubus.
Oh, Lord.
What? That was not
So-
on my bingo.
Nope.
Nope. This demonic entity took a grotesque form. So it had the head of a old woman, and its eyes were red and its gums were green.
Oh.
Ew.
But then he described it as having the body of a young woman.
Mm.
Just put a
It-
bag on it.
It apparently sexually assaulted him multiple times and left him covered in like a ooey plasma.
Oh, now.
Ghost cum.
Mhm.
Oh.
Ectoplasma.
No plasma.
Janet also said that she was visited in the dead of the night and molested by that same smoke figure that she had seen in the
Oh.
kitchen.
Damn.
Both Jack and Janet say while these events were happening, they heard what they described as pig noises, like squeals and pig screams coming from somewhere in the house, like felt like it was in the walls or the room next door. Apparently, this is a sign of demonic infestation.
I was gonna say, so it wasn't like when you were talking about the very beginning, there was like weird like oil stains or like gross gooey spots. Like that's also a sign of demonic
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Oh.
This house is
Interesting. Okay.
seemingly
Steep in
pretty
it.
haunted.
Or there
Yep.
could be a possum trapped in the crawl spaces. Who knows?
Well, yeah, I mean, and there's also pets in the house. I always thought like maybe just a pet peed on the carpet and just couldn't get it out. But it seemed
Cat pee. Gross.
if they're lying, they thought of that because they noted that it was like all oily and it was hard to
Mhm.
get out.
Hmm.
Now, if these annoying disturbances and scary things weren't frightening enough,
Oh wait, there's more.
the house now often became icy cold, and John and Mary, Jack's parents, would hear Jack and Janet from the other side of the house having intense arguments with, curses and vile language. And Jack and Janet were perfectly fine not arguing when they would go over and say, no, we weren't arguing about anything.
Oh, what the hell?
Oh, a mimic.
Yep.
Oh.
So something was just like mimicking their voices and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah. And the voice that Janet had heard in the basement calling her was supposedly Mary's voice. So she thought that her mother-in-law was calling her.
Oh.
Mm.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's trying to like lure them.
Yeah, or just drive them enough insane and like cause like a riff and emotional stress in the house.
Wow.
Lying in bed one night, Jack and Janet heard someone whispering, and it seemed like the voice of a young woman. When he turned to face his wife, he watched a shadowy figure run up her leg and dissipate at the top of the bed.
Stay away from my
Oh,
bedroom.
fuck.
We're not doing that mess. That's too far. I don't care if you're a
Jumping-
demon. I don't care.
The Warrens do like designate their bedroom as like the hot spot for these
We're on the
entities.
couch from then on.
Yeah, moving bedrooms.
You can just
I'm
hang
not
out
in
on the
this
couch.
house anymore. Like
Nah.
this is
True.
way too much already. Cause
Did they have like
Um,
anybody come in at this point to like do anything?
not yet. So at this point, Janet has been trying so hard to get the Scranton Archdiocese to come to the house and help them, but they basically expressed like, we'll notify the higher ups and the people that do like exorcism type stuff, but we doubt anyone's going to come out and like actually help you.
Oh,
Mm.
lovely.
So
Love that for the
yeah.
Catholic
So
Church.
Yeah.
she wasn't receiving the help she was asking for.
Weird.
Janet was violently pulled off the bed one night while she was making love to Jack, while Jack was stuck paralyzed, gagging from a foul odor that he said he couldn't breathe through. Now, these attacks weren't just limited to Jack and Janet. One evening, Shannon was ironing a dress and a big light fixture fell like inches away from what probably would have killed her.
Oh.
Oh, so
What's-
this thing's like trying to kill him now.
Yeah, and what's significant about this is that Shannon was ironing Heather's dress
Hmm.
for her confirmation.
Oh, damn.
Okay.
So it was almost like a retaliation because she was going to be confirmed into the faith and he didn't want that, or they didn't want that.
Right.
None of that religion stuff here.
Nope. And if it couldn't get any worse, the family's German Shepherd Simon was picked up and thrown across the room and pinned against the wall.
Okay, now.
And they saw this just flying dog.
Mm-hmm. And it was like up against the wall, pinned where like nothing's holding it.
It's terrifying and sad all at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, the Roman Catholic Diocese of Scranton said they would consult the experts, but official involvement was unlikely. At one point, Janet called and spoke with a Father O'Leary, who said that he would come to the house and help her.
Mhm.
Only to find out that Father O'Leary doesn't exist.
What?
So no one knows who she spoke to,
The demon.
assuming, yeah. That'd be my
Oh
guess.
my
'Cause
gosh.
this house is fucked up.
Okay, evil. That shit evil.
All right. And now I think this is maybe one of the most bone chilling experiences of this whole thing. Jack says that one night he woke up and at the foot of his bed, crouched down, were two women. One in her 20s, one in her 40s, both dressed in colonial style or era clothing. Now, at first they didn't notice that Jack saw them. Then they did. And when they did, they looked at each other, whispered something to each other, But that's when Jack's attention was taken to another figure in the room, which was a large, mustached man who walked over to the side of the bed, leaned over to Jack, and told him, "You'll pay for this."
I'm just trying to sleep.
Yeah.
The women at the bottom of the bed looked at him and started wagging their fingers,
Oh, no, you didn't.
repeating,
Like
"You'll
did
pay
something.
for this," while giggling.
What the fuck? What did this
like
guy
I get
do?
the chills talking about that one. That one's fucking creepy as shit. I don't like that one at all.
Oh, man.
Obviously, at this point, the family is like exhausted, frustrated. The whole situation is just not getting any better.
Mhm.
They decide we need to leave the house for a little while, get out,
/
go on
forever.
vacation,
Right.
We should just sell the house,
right?
abandon
Maybe
it.
never come back.
Yeah.
So they decide to go for a little camping trip, or more like a cabin trip in the Poconos. But according to the Smurls, they couldn't escape the malevolent forces even there.
Oh.
Because one night, Jack was preparing a fire. While he looked up, he saw what he thought was a 14-year-oldish girl with blonde hair, again, colonial period dress, standing at the brush line. The dog Simon started going nuts, barking at whatever it was. So Jack grabbed his flashlight and went to go try to find the girl. Couldn't find her. Later that night, they were around that fire that Jack had been preparing, and multiple times, different people heard a young girl's voice saying, "Help me."
Don't fall for that.
Oh, nope. Mm-mm. I don't hear no voices in the woods. I will not save you. Do not get lost.
Well, Jack stayed with the younger kids, while their cousin Davy, who was along on the trip with them, and Janet and Dawn went to take a walk around the lake to see if they could find the source of the noise.
See, that's how you get killed in horror
Yep,
movies.
absolutely.
They didn't find
As a
anything.
group.
Yeah, 10 out of 10
Except-
times.
Yeah. Well, don't split up. That's like rule number one.
But
Don't
yeah, you're right.
split up. But they said they didn't find anything. That was super weird. But on the way back, they did say they saw a garbage can like shaking violently and rocking violently.
Raccoons.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like probably just you're at a camping ground, the garbage can shaking.
Yeah, little trash pandas.
There's a critter. But other weird things did happen, like a whole clothesline full of clothes all got ripped down at like the same exact second. So there are things that were happening at home or when they were away. They really didn't seem to be able to escape whatever was haunting them. Now, by the time they had gotten back, the family is absolutely desperate. Like,
Yeah, I'm sure they're just
Yeah.
shot mentally and everything. They're just done. Run the fuck down.
yep. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're not sleeping. You're seeing shit while you're sleeping. Your animals are being attacked. Ugh, yeah.
These little colonial white women.
Yeah, I also, like you said earlier, like that whole mimic thing, like the fact that like it feels like it's watching you and is able to like really like fuck with your head.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't
It's
like
intelligence. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you're in a house with a family full of people that see their dog get picked up and get thrown, like, okay, you don't feel as crazy because a group full of people saw that happen.
Yeah.
But when you're home alone and you're like, hey, I swear that I heard you calling me for like hours, and like it was a real voice and I heard it, like that's when you start to like go loopy, I feel like.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Especially when you know you're the only person home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit's happened here. It's terrifying.
No, not for me, man. Disembodied voices are not cool. Now, this is when Janet came across an article for Ed and Lorraine Warren. So out of her desperation, she reached out. She was skeptical. She was openly skeptical about them coming to the house. You know, she, being a devout Catholic, didn't really even believe in like what Ed and Lorraine were doing as
Mhm.
ghost hunting and paranormal stuff.
Demonology and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Right.
But the Warrens arrived, and they arrived with a registered nurse and a psychic named Rosemary Firth. they really began the investigation with like a long sit down with the Smurl family, going through their religious beliefs and like how happy the family is and what's the dynamic, if there's any turmoil or fighting going on in the house, if anyone in the house ever participated in any Satanism or occultism. They asked them if they played with like Ouija boards or anything like that, or otherwise invited any kind of demon or evil into their house.
They all said no, I'm assuming.
100% do. But during the investigation, what they would uncover was more horrifying than what the Smurls could have imagined. The duplex wasn't just haunted by one ghost, it was a battleground amongst 4 spirits.
Oh.
Ooh, ghost bites.
Yeah.
And one of them was a malevolent demon.
I feel like that would be the winner.
Yeah.
Just throw it out there.
2 were young women. One they could not identify.
That's your big
But
black
the
mask.
other one was the powerful demon who
Mustache
essentially reigned over the house and forced the other spirits to do things and would torment the other spirits to help him.
Okay.
I guess. Yeah. The attempts to cleanse the house only provoked things. Things would fly across the room while prayers were being said. And not being able to get the church to come, the Warrens brought their well-known father McKenna, who is now Bishop McKenna. He is a traditionalist and didn't believe in the ritual mandates that the Second Vatican Council had imposed on like exorcisms and what it takes to go through the process of to get a exorcist to come and all that. So he was just doing exorcisms left and right. He did over 50 exorcisms for the Warrens. And he conducted his first exorcism for the Smurls, which did absolutely nothing.
There's nothing at all. Didn't even piss the ghost off. Like
changed nothing. Over the time that the Warrens would investigate, the daughter Heather became extremely ill with like flu-like symptoms and a fever of like unknown origin. Dawn was repeatedly almost raped, and Janet and Mary would have bite marks and scratches all over their body.
Jeez.
God dang.
Yeah. So the mood in the house is everyone's depressed, everyone's on their last everything. Yeah. Ed Warren explained this as the second stage of demonic possession. So this is the oppression phase where like they just are taking every ounce of resistance you have out of you to bring you to the next stage.
Yeah.
Yep.
They just feed off of it.
Possession and death would be your next stage of demonic possession, which is
that would suck.
Even Ed said that he began to suffer flu-like symptoms, and he said the only things that would kind of calm the spirits down were intense group prayer and holy water. And even then, it didn't last for long. So without any evidence of family dysfunction or occult intervention or tragedy, the Warrens surmised that the demon must have been dormant for decades maybe and arisen drawn to the emotional energy generated by the young girls entering puberty.
Oh. Okay.
Bishop
that
McKenna,
old chestnut.
Yep. Which is one of the only things that like I feel like is a big linchpin in all these stories is children and hormones.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is so weird.
That's very weird.
Mm-hmm. So Bishop McKenna offered and performed a second exorcism to no avail.
Surprising.
And after repeated refusals for intervention from the church, things just kept getting worse. The Smurls decided to take their haunting to TV and see if they can get help or guidance that way. They remained anonymous, and they appeared on TV behind a screen, and they were interviewed by Richard Bay on a local Philadelphia show called The People Are Talking.
Ooh.
So there's clips of this video. You can find this online if you want to look it up. It's exactly what you think it is. It's that like 70s studio with like plants on either side.
Oh, public access.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's super that. Like it just I was like, okay, I know what's going on. After the show, the demon retaliated. It levitated Janet, and hurled her against the wall. It also appeared to Jack as a monstrous creature with the head of a pig or the body of a pig on 2 legs. It's like an upright pig creature
pig person.
thing. Yeah.
Man, bear, pig. Would explain the pig noises he heard like a couple of months ago. Or
Yeah.
whatever.
I don't see that. I feel like is a very religious thing to bring into hauntings, because like what other like who else considers pigs like dirty besides like religions? So after that pig thing appeared to Jack, a scene happened that I think is like straight out of Nightmare on Elm Street. While laying in bed, a human hand came out of the mattress and grabbed Janet by the back of the neck.
Absolutely not. That's too
Ooh,
far.
nope.
That's too far.
And Jack ran into the succubus again.
Oh gosh. Jeez, oh Pete.
Jesus Christ.
All right. Now we're at the point where like they don't care about ridicule. They just need to like get their story out there, get a wider audience, try to get some kind of help. So they granted an interview to the newspaper almost immediately after that article was released. The house was just overrun by reporters and skeptics and paranormal investigators. So they became like super duper overwhelmed by like living people now.
They're like, maybe it could attach to someone else.
Right?
Yeah.
Just like, come here, guy. You're just lining them up. You're just like, hey,
Yeah.
how about this one, ghost? So amongst these variety of people was a medium named Mary Alice Rickman. She came and did a reading of the house, and she corroborated the Warrens' findings of 4 spirits. And she identified these spirits as an old woman named Abigail. One was a dark mustached man named Patrick, who had murdered his wife and her lover, and then was hung by a mob in the town.
That's probably why he leaned over and said, "You'll pay for this," because
Yep.
he was killing his
Mm-hmm.
lover, his wife's
Yep.
lover.
They could not identify the third again.
Ugh.
And the 4th was that powerful demon.
Mm.
Now, finally, after all this publicity, after Ed and Lorraine were there, after newspaper articles and TV appearances, the church wants to step in.
Of course, because they
Now
want
they
their
look
15 minutes
bad.
of
'Cause,
fame.
yeah, they didn't help. But,
No, yeah, they look bad. That's what it was, is that after all the people were like, whoa, if this stuff is going on, why isn't the church actually here
Yeah.
helping you? The Warrens planned a mass exorcism, and several priests and prayer groups came to the house to give comfort and prayer to try to cleanse the house. Bishop McKenna gave a 3rd exorcism, which, with all these things, finally seemed to quiet the disturbances for about 3 months.
Oh man.
Shortly before Christmas, Jack saw the black form again. This time, he says he felt like it was beckoning him to the 3rd stage of possession.
No, thank you. I'm good over
No,
here.
I'm good. I'm pretty
Second
possessed of my
stage
body already.
was no
Mhm.
fun. So
I've been out in the beginning of this story. I'm gone.
yeah.
Game over.
But thanks for the invite. I do appreciate
Right?
being
Yeah,
included.
it was a
That
cool
you thought
house.
of me,
That's nice.
you know. But
Yeah. Oh, I'm so
I
special.
just really want to see what someone else can do with the place.
Yeah. Put it on HGTV. My demonic house.
yeah.
Yeah, man. That's a way to go. I wouldn't. We still already talked about like haunted B&Bs, Airbnbs. That's what we need
See,
to find. Well,
there
we're
we
going
go.
to one, but
Yeah.
there needs to be a
Great.
specific app.
Yeah. And we got to pitch it to HGTV now about renovating my spooky house.
Yes. Copyright. We
I
thought
hear
of it
you
first.
don't want. I hear you don't want HGTV fucking with your house. I hear they do
No.
like
Yeah, like
super
picture
cosmetic bad work
really
and leave
bad.
like empty walls and shit. Yeah,
That doesn't surprise me.
it's fucked
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, they get sued a lot after they leave.
So while Jack is seeing this black mass that's beckoning him to the third stage of possession, he clutches his rosary and prays, which seems to help, and this kind of becomes a isolated incident for a while. But again, things pick back up by the end of, or the beginning of next year, so I guess it was Christmas then. He had like a week of quiet after collecting his rosary. The family finally came to the point where they decided they had to leave the home.
Oh,
They-
that was the time.
That was
not
it.
not just
After-
getting molested and just all the horrible other things that happened.
No,
But it's
yeah,
attached to them, right? Haven't they
Yeah, like, no matter
concluded
where
that
you
that's
go.
not going to help?
That's what they said. But they said that they left the house and it seemed to have left them alone.
Oh,
So I don't know if it was like only following them because they knew it was coming back to the house and like the house was theirs.
they're like, they're just
And
on
maybe they were trying
vacay. It's cool.
Keep them away.
We'll send in the
Yeah.
third string spirits to haunt them in the woods, but they'll be back.
The church performed a fourth exorcism in the house that seemed to take care of whatever was living there. You can find more about this, obviously, online, but there is a movie made
Of
called
course.
The Haunted.
Hmm.
It was released in 1991,
Simple but effective.
Yeah.
right? And there was also a book under the same name
Okay.
released.
Damn.
So that is the super paranormal Ed and Lorraine Warren take on this case.
Is the house still there?
The house, I think, is actually still there.
So it's
I should
interesting.
probably go try by it.
So it just, if you went to the other side of the duplex with the in-laws, it
It
just has
wasn't
no
as much
interest.
activity.
But they did have
No.
some.
Some, they
'cause
witnessed
it
stuff.
walked through the wall,
Mhm.
but yeah.
But okay, I was thinking they were still in their side of the duplex. Okay, gotcha.
What it seems like the entity would use Jack's parents as more of like a confusion tool or a technique to like draw like tension amongst the family.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
like a hammer would go missing, and Jack would ask Janet, "Hey, have you seen my hammer?" Janet would say, "Oh no, but why don't you ask your dad?" Jack would go ask his dad. His dad being older, Jack would then like semi-accuse him of just being senile and not knowing that he took the hammer.
Yeah.
So it was like these little instances of like
Okay.
microaggressions.
It just keeps layering and layering and layering.
Mhm. But I don't think it'd be fair, and I don't think we would be any kind of podcast or credible if we didn't give you the whole story and the possibilities of what some of these events could have been other than a poltergeist.
Gas leak.
Close. There is a organization called the Committee for the Science of Investigation of Claims of the Paranormal. That's
Okay.
not a mouthful.
That's okay.
For
Yeah.
short, they call it CSI. But I guess they can't call it CSI without saying the whole thing anyway, because you get very confused.
Hey, I
Right.
work for CSI. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So where's the crap? Not
Yeah.
that CSI.
Not that one, guys. Sorry.
Okay.
So the chairman, Paul Kurtz, he says that during this whole thing, while the Warrens were at the house, he had sent 2 teams of paranormal investigators to investigate the house, but they were both turned away by the Warrens.
Yeah, because the Warrens wanted that grift money.
Yep. And even though the Warrens had turned them away, they did get in contact with the Smurls, and the Smurls did give them permission to investigate. So
Mhm.
they ended up doing extensive interviews with family members, news reporters that had already covered the story, and neighbors and other people in the town that knew about the house.
Okay.
So Kurtz writes in an article, the title of the article is which is "A Haunting in West Pittston, Not a Ghost of a Chance."
Oh. Okay.
Look at you go, you clever man.
It was posted in the 1986-1987 edition of the Skeptical Inquirer.
Love
And
that.
basically, what he outlines in it and what he says that the CSI didn't agree with is that the Warrens didn't use any kind of scientific investigation
Mm.
to prove any of their claims. It was literally just word of mouth and
Yeah.
psychic readings.
Yeah, they just went in when we're like, beep, 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 beep. Bad guy ghost over there. Boop, 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 boop. I just
Right.
deflected a psychic attack here.
Yeah,
It's
the
like
Warrens fuck
something-
everything up, but they're almost involved in all these
Uh,
stories, so it's hard to avoid them.
Yeah, it's very true.
Ed attempted to defend his refusal to allow the CSI team in the house. He called a press conference. In the press conference, he states that he has audio tapes and videotapes of terrifying sounds and horrifying things going on around the house.
Well, let's see the tapes, bro.
Yep.
When asked to see the tapes, he claims that he gave them to a TV station that was going to do a paranormal show on the case.
I feel like I've heard this in UAP culture.
Yeah. When asked what TV station he gave said tapes to, he couldn't remember.
Oh.
You okay? Because they don't exist, Ed. They
There's
don't
just so
exist.
many. There says
was
ABC,
gonna say-
NBC, CBS, TNT. I
Right?
don't know which one.
Oh my
PBS?
gosh,
I don't know.
dude.
Can't remember.
Wow.
All of them.
Ed also claims that the church has evidence. The church claims that they don't.
It's because he never gave it to him. I mean, I
I
don't know
love
who's the
when-
bigger liar, him or the church, but
I know, but I
Yeah.
love when you read these things and it's like Ed claims, and like literally, like the next three words are like the church does it. And, like end of any of that. Like that's all I could find on it. Now there was a psychologist in Allentown, which is a town not too far away from West Pittston. His name was Robert Gordon, and he thought that there was a possibility that the family was suffering from mass hysteria. Which I feel like it's something
Right.
that's commonly thrown in these things. He said that the shared tension might cause common symptoms that could involve delusions or hallucinations.
damn.
Kurt, the guy from the CSI, he offered to have a comprehensive psychological and physiological exams done on the Smurls. They declined.
Hmm.
Now, one of the things that the Smurls reported around the house was a foul stench that permeated the house, and they attributed it to demonic infestation.
Mhm.
However, for years, neighbors in the town have bothered town officials for a foul smell coming from a sewer pipe near the
Oh,
Smurls' house.
Okay.
Like I said at the top of this was in a former mining town. So there are layers and layers of mines under these homes. And from time to time, these mines settle. Sometimes they collapse, which causes the houses on top to shake and rumble and creak and make all kinds of weird noises. So some of those rocking chair instances or scratches in the walls could have just been mines settling underneath them.
Yeah. I mean, old houses move and settle all the time.
Yep.
Does it scratch your
Many-
walls though?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still sticking to
I
the
mean,
possum.
so here's the thing, and this is just me from my experiences. When I lived in New York, our house was old and had plaster walls.
Yeah, same.
Like when you would drill something or put something in, you would just hear the plaster just fall on the
Oh,
backside of the wall.
Yeah,
Yes.
So I'm
crumbling.
wondering if like it's old and brittle and the house is settling, if every once in a while there's just like pieces
Shit
of
running
plaster
through.
scraping down the
Okay.
walls. I don't know. Again, I'm not a ghost hunter or investigator.
I'm also
Yeah.
neither a
Yeah.
house engineer
Yeah,
or
yeah.
house builder. I don't build houses.
Definitely fucking not.
Not an architect.
Oh,
That's the
fucking
word.
houses,
A
man.
house engineer.
Houses suck. So many thought the family made this whole story up for financial gain or notoriety. One witness actually claims that they saw Jack negotiating with a Scranton businessman named Ralph Loma. He's the head of the Star Group, a Hollywood production company.
Mm.
And I just picture him like coming out and be like, hey, I'm Ralph Loma. Here's my card. Like he's just super like New York, like that name, Ralph Loma. I don't know.
On his business card, Loma is just like in bold. for
Just
some
that's the only
reason.
thing it says. It's just Loma.
The only name you ever need. Gives him the card.
He's like, actually, can I have that card back? It's the only one I got. Thank you.
But you got my number, right?
Initially, Jack denied the claims, but Loma confirmed that he tried to get exclusive rights to the Smurl
Okay.
story.
To the Smurl story.
In November, St. Martin Press announced that they had signed a book contract with the Smurls. This all is happening on the heels of the Amityville horror.
Oh,
So everybody's trying to get
Craze.
that cash in on that like
okay.
ghost horror franchise money.
Yeah. Losing credibility
again,
here.
These stories are completely up to you whether you want to believe them or not. That's why I like to give the whole story. So there was one more thing that I found interesting that I think it was Kurtz had mentioned about Smurl. So Jack Smurl had undergone brain surgery not too long before all this stuff happened
Mhm.
because he had water on his brain. So they did surgery to remove the water. But side effects of having water on your brain are like hallucinations and
Yep.
things like that. So there's a whole nother avenue to go down that maybe it was more of like a mental thing that was going on with Jack.
Mhm.
Again, I don't know if that like trickles down and causes mass hysteria amongst the family.
Right.
Everyone kind of claimed to see the things and hear the things, but
So we're left with, or did they just, that happened and then they were like, and then he had his surgery, was better, and then they're like, wait a minute. This could be a really good opportunity to, yeah.
We should cash in on this.
well, that's the good point because that's like what you think about. It's almost like if you had nothing at
Mhm.
all to go on, like it's a real reach to like pull that out and try to flesh out like
Yeah.
instances of things that happened and have people
Yeah.
believe you. But if a few of these weird things did happen, and you're like being influenced by like the Amityville horror stuff,
Mhm.
your husband just lost his job, his mom just had a heart attack. Like, you think like, what can we do? Like,
Yeah.
maybe if we just like, maybe we'll play up the haunted stuff and see if like we can get some attention. I, on like a little bit more of a paranormal note, like now, what if you do that and like your intention and like your almost willingness to invite these things into your house does cause like more of this shit to happen.
Oh yeah, because you're
yeah.
literally inviting that kind of stuff in.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is one of those things where it's like, is it like both natural and supernatural? Like, are there just normal things that are going on in the house that are unexplainable or weird, but there are paranormal things going on in the house, and now they're just kind of mixing both together and don't know what's what? I don't know. Never know.
It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, but I love these stories because I like being able to have the whole thing. Like, I really don't enjoy a story when they're like, yeah, so the house was just demolished and no one knows whatever happened.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Nobody
well,
talked about it ever again.
Right.
and it's like, well, did they find like anything around the house? Well, yeah, were there a gas leak? Was there like, is it on an Indian burial ground? Give me
Right.
something
Yeah, black
to
mold,
rationalize
something. Yeah.
the activity and don't just tell me a story. So I don't know.
That's
The
very interesting.
Smurls of southeastern Pennsylvania.
Boop,
Huh.
boop.
It's up to you guys. Tell us what you think.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, and if you have any crazy poltergeist stories or ghost activity, just hit us up at ssospodcast@gmail.com. I want to hear about that shit.
I do too.
Yeah, definitely.
I know I'm not the only person that lives in a haunted house.
Not at all. And if you want to share your story and you don't want to be on the podcast, feel free to email it to us. We are collecting stories to put together a few like listener story episodes,
Yes.
which I think will also be just a lot of fun to go through, like people's random
Absolutely.
stories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. As always, good things are on the docket. I was recently a guest on a podcast, the subreddit surfing podcast. So this podcast being a product of Reddit, I felt it appropriate that I go on a subreddit podcast.
Yeah.
We talked about the missing 411 and just weird, strange shit. It's the strange shit we talk about.
So we do.
Right up our own alley. Yeah.
Mhm. Thanks everybody for listening. Of course, we appreciate all the support. If you have ideas for topics, please leave them below. If there are any questions you have about the episode or any cases that we cover, let us know. I'd be happy to look into them and try to find answers for you. Do the social stuff and hit us up on TikTok, Instagram,
Anything.
Facebook.
Comment on YouTube. Yeah.
We like to talk.
Don't forget to hit that notification bell.
Absolutely. Punch the shit out.
Just like that.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Keep it strange.
Thank you for listening. If you would like to join us as a guest, suggest a topic, or have a story you want us to share, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at ssospodcast@gmail.com. For more behind-the-scenes updates and exclusive insights about SSOS, make sure to follow us on social media. And don't miss out on the fun. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Again, thank you for listening to the Secret Society of Strangers podcast. This show is an independent production, researched and crafted by our passionate team. But we couldn't do it without all of you. We truly appreciate your support. Embrace the unknown, for not all secrets are meant to be kept. Farewell, strangers.